Hello everyone and welcome to the second part of the video. In this video I will be explaining to you the blood supply, nerve supply and lymphatic drainage of breast. So the breast is a highly vascular structure. It is supplied by 3 arteries and their branches. You can remember this by the mnemonic SAL. From S we have the subclavian artery and its branch, internal thoracic artery. From A we have the axillary artery. Axillary artery is going to be supplying the breast through 3 branches. You can also remember these 3 branches by the mnemonic SAL. Superior thoracic artery, acromiothoracic artery and lateral thoracic artery. From L we have the lateral branches of posterior intercostal artery. This was the arterial supply. Let us revise it. So remember the mnemonic SAL. From S we have the subclavian artery. Which branch? Internal thoracic artery. From A we have the axillary artery. Which were the 3 branches? Again SAL, superior thoracic, acromiothoracic and lateral thoracic. Okay. From L we have the lateral branch of posterior intercostal artery. Moving on to the venous drainage. Now we know that the veins are always going to be following the arteries. What happens in breast is that the veins are first going to converge towards the base and they are going to form a venous circle, and after formation of this circle the veins are going to run in 2 sets, superficial and deep sets. Okay, so the superficial set is going to drain into internal thoracic vein and superficial veins of neck. So from SAL we are going to have the S for superficial. What was S? Subclavian artery. And which was its branch? Internal thoracic artery. So the vein is also going to be internal thoracic vein. While A and L are going to be draining the deep set. Okay. Now let us look at the nerve supply. So the nerve supply of the breast is through anterior and lateral cutaneous branch of the 4th to 6th intercostal nerves. You will learn about intercostal nerves in thorax in more detail. Okay, so do not worry about it. Now there is one very important point here, which is that the nerves do not control the secretion of the milk. It is controlled by a hormone. Which is that hormone? Prolactin. Okay. Now comes the most important part, which is the lymphatic drainage. Why is this important? Because carcinoma of breast can spread through this lymphatic drainage. There can be spread from one breast to another, from breast to the liver or any other organ in the abdomen. Okay. The cancer might also spread through brain, through the lymphatics through brain or vertebral column. Okay, I will explain to you carcinoma in more detail when it comes to the clinical part. So now let us discuss the lymphatic drainage. So the lymphatic drainage we are going to study in 2 parts. First is our lymph node and second is the lymphatic vessels. So when it comes to lymph nodes, the chief lymph nodes, that means the lymph nodes which are going to drain maximum of the lymph, that is 75% of lymph, is drained by axillary group of lymph nodes. So what are these lymph nodes? There are anterior, posterior, central, lateral and apical. So let us see the direction. So the lymph from the anterior and posterior is going to drain into the central and lateral group. Okay, this is the posterior and this is the anterior group of lymph nodes. They are going to drain into central and lateral group of lymph nodes, and lymph from these 2 is going to drain into apical, and apical is ultimately going to drain into supraclavicular. Now carcinoma spread is very common along central and anterior nodes. Why? Because carcinoma is very common in the upper lateral quadrant of the breast. Okay, so therefore these 2 nodes are majorly involved in the carcinoma. Also the anterior group are going to lie along the axillary tail of Spence. I have discussed this in my previous video where I have told you that the extension of upper lateral quadrant is called the axillary tail of Spence. Okay. Then we have internal mammary nodes, which are these. They are lying along the sternum, lateral border of sternum. Therefore, they are also called as parasternal nodes. They are going to drain 20% of the lymph. They are going to lie along internal thoracic artery, and then important point is that they are going to drain all the 4 quadrants, that is the inner as well as outer half of the breast. Okay, so I hope it is all clear up to this. Now there are some other lymph nodes as well: supraclavicular, celiac, posterior intercostal, and these two, which are subdiaphragmatic and subperitoneal, they are plexuses. So they are going to drain the lower and inner quadrant. And what is their importance? Carcinoma of breast is going to spread into the abdomen through these lymph plexuses. Now let us look at the lymph vessels. Okay, so there are going to be 2 types: superficial lymphatics and deep lymphatics. Now what are the superficial lymphatics going to drain? They are going to drain the skin over the breast. They are draining the skin, but they will not drain nipple and areola. The nipple and areola is drained by deep lymphatics of the breast. Now the superficial lymphatics are going to pass radially to the surroundings lymph nodes, and the deep lymphatics drain the parenchyma and nipple and areola. Okay. Now the deep lymphatics are also going to pierce the clavipectoral fascia, and from there they will also drain into the apical nodes. Okay, clear? Now let us look at some few important points. We also have a subareolar plexus of Sappi. Sub means below, so they are basically present below the areola, and it is called as subareolar plexus of Sappi. That is, they are deep to areola, and then they are going to drain into the anterior lymph nodes. Then lymphatics from deep surface of the breast pass through pectoralis major and clavipectoral fascia to reach the apical and internal mammary nodes. Okay. So this was all about the lymphatic drainage. We have its very high clinical importance due to the spread of the carcinoma. I will discuss the clinical part of the breast in my next video. This was all for today. I hope you have understood. Thank you so much.